Before we get into this video, I just want to thank Q1 Fiend for forever supporting us, and we really appreciate it. Benjamin, we love you, man. Thank you for all the support. Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today's video is the Qsp Leopard. So, Qsp Knives makes really good quality knives, especially for the budget. A lot of people know the Qsp Penguin. The Qsp Penguin is a great knife as well. And, you know, one thing that they're bringing to the table is decent quality or really good quality micarta for the money, because you can get for like 25 bucks, you can get really good quality micarta with a good knife. Now the Leopard here has green micarta that is good quality, and this knife is a liner lock 14C28N blade steel, nice satin blade. And, you know, consider this a drop point blade, for sure, a drop point blade. And it is pretty unique, you know, just kind of the way it, if you look, it kind of like rounds off. So it does give you, you know, not the best ergos, because I don't want to review this as something it's not, because it's just a lightweight EDC knife. So let's get into the action, and then we'll get into the ergos and everything else. So the flipper tab, if you look at the flipper tab, it is unique. It's like a square, nice jimping on it, and you can see right there that it has internal stop pins that lock up right there, and then that's also the closing spot for the internal stop pin. Ceramic bearings, ceramic detent, and you have a lot of leverage on this flipper tab because you can see how high it is compared to the pivot. So tons of leverage when you flip this out. Now you can't push button it right here. You see how it's squared off. You can't really use that. I mean, because, you know, there's just nothing there to really use, but you go right on top or on the corner and yank down, and it flips very, very good. Lots of leverage. The liner is does have traction on it, and the detent ball is right there. Not early, not late, but you can get past it. The drop isn't like crazy smooth, but it is a very light blade. So the action is actually pretty good on this little guy, especially for such a lightweight knife. Now, one thing I really like about this knife is that it is so easy to reverse flick. It's so easy that there's only a couple knives that I've ever found that I can reverse flick left-handed like that, and this being one of them. I've never been able to do it, but except for on two knives, this one and then a custom knife. So that says a lot about how easy this knife is to reverse flick like this. So you just put your finger on the side and put a little pressure and flip. Now, when it is open or when you let it drop, like I said, it's very smooth. It's not false shutty or anything, but the action is really good. Now the ergos. The ergos, you know, holding it back here, it's not very comfortable because it does have a deep carry clip. So holding it like this, you know, it's just kind of uncomfortable. Holding it like this is a little bit better. Putting your finger over the flipper tab, and this is where I think this traction comes into place, because now you can kind of, you know, just like get traction from this jimping to this jimping in the pinch grip. However, I think this thing's mostly for like this, because in this grip it's really comfortable, because the way the handle contours down, it kind of just wraps right down. Wrap your fingers around, push it up into your palm, and you can drill utility cuts, side cuts. You can turn it around from this grip to this grip really fast, the pinch grip, for slicing. So this is the grip that I think it is for and is most comfortable, and it works good. So slicing like this works incredibly well. It's not the best geometry in the world, but it's good, you know, for the price, for the budget. It cuts just fine. Let's talk about this 14C28N blade steel, because I think this was a fantastic choice for this knife and the price. Now, first of all, 14C28N was originally designed or made for razor blades. And it was originally made to be heat treated on a conveyor belt, which means that it was made to be heat treated very fast and a lot of them, which, you know, means that production companies are going to be able to heat treat them on a production scale very easily and with good results. Obviously, though, if you're talking about a custom heat treat versus the production heat treat, yeah, a custom heat treat is going to be far superior to a production heat treat. But my point is that even from a production level, we're still going to see good results, good quality steel, because it was made for that. Now, 14C28N is a very well-rounded steel. It's very tough, and because it's tough means that they can give us nice thin grinds and grind them in a way that they're really good at cutting. They're good stain resistance, they hold an edge really well, and they're so easy to sharpen. And they take a very, very sharp edge, like a ridiculously sharp edge. And it's easy to get a very sharp edge on it. Now, Nitro V, 14C28N, and AEBL are very similar in their makeup. Now, the thing is, though, is 14C28N and Nitro V, in my opinion, are superior to AEBL. I do think that they're a little bit better than AEBL. And it's because they have added nitrium and vanadium in their makeup. Now, the nitrogen is going to help with better corrosion resistance, hardening rate, and fatigue life. The vanadium is going to help with it be more hardenable, resistant to abrasives, and corrosion resistance again. So because of that, I think that it holds a better edge. I think it takes a better edge. And I think it just, you know, when you're sharpening it, it just brings that level of sharpness a little bit better on this steel. And like I said, and I think it holds a little bit better edge. So I think 14C28N is one of the best choices for steel from a production company, because it's easy to heat treat for them, regardless if they get it perfect, meaning it could do good between 55 HRC all the way to 61 HRC, maybe even higher. But I'm just saying that there's a big range right there. So if they're doing a lot of them and they're not all exactly 58, it's okay. It'll still do really good. In my opinion, though, I would rather see higher HRC, but I'm just saying, though, that it still does very good. So, and we see it for great prices. That's another thing. So, in my opinion, it is the best choice that they could have put on this knife. I'm very happy to see this steel on this knife for this price. So, fantastic steel choice. So, slicing with it, very good. Push cuts, you can turn it around and get some good push cuts, you know, just covering right over the flipper tab, like I said before, in the choil area. And it slices just fine for a basic EDC knife. Now, like I was saying, when you're slicing like this, you can easily turn it right into a utility cut, and the utility cuts are very nice with this. This thing is going to be very good at draw cuts, precision utility cuts, picking, drilling a hole, you know, things like that. Very acute tip that does work very well. So like I said, utility cuts. Not only does the blade work really good, but the geometry, the ergos work really good as well with the utility cuts. The handle kind of wraps around right here, and it does have a little peak right there, but to be honest, it doesn't bother my hand. Even when I'm pushing down like this, that does not really bother my hand. I know it kind of looks like it would, but it's rounded just in the right way where it doesn't bother. At least my hand, it doesn't bother. Now, turning it around and trying to pull straps and stuff, you will be just fine because of how it's kind of neutral back here. So your fingers wrap right around, you know, if you need to pop a strap or something like that. Now, moving on to the clip. The clip works very, very well. One, it doesn't have a ton of tension, so it goes easily into the pocket, and it does have dome round screws. I'd rather see flat screws, but I never had an issue with them, so, you know, no problems there. The clip works great. It's not the best in the hand in certain grips, but in the pocket, pulling it in and out, it works fantastic. Now looking at the screws and hardware, you can see he's got T6s down here, T8 pivot, and you can see the liners are not shadow boxed, but they're right there, almost shadow boxed. Maybe you could consider this shadow boxed, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could, because they do poke out just a little tiny bit, but they're rounded and crowned around the edges, which makes it nice and slick and smooth. So not bad in the hand. Going over a couple negative things, because there are a couple bad things here. So one thing is, like I just said, T6s, get rid of T6s. We only want to see T8s, and that's at the minimum. You know, I'd opt for T10s at this point, because I don't want to see T6s anymore. So I'm almost about to start just saying everything should be T10s. Maybe that way they'll start doing T8s. Anyways, I'm obviously joking. I just don't like to see T6s. Now, another bad thing is this choil. This is a horrible example of a sharpening choil. They gave you a choil here, but look where the plunge grind ends. The plunge grind ends way past. You can actually see it starts here and it ends about right here. So, you know, that's not going to do any justice in sharpening. You will get a smile, and you can already see even from the factory there's a little smile, and that's just purely from the factory. So let alone if it gets a new edge, or if you lay back the edge. If you lay back the edge, it's definitely going to have a huge smile back here. However, since it does have internal stop pins, it's nothing to cut your own choil in. You could even cut in a little finger choil if you want, or you could just notch out one nice good circle right there and make a good sharpening choil. But I think it should just came from the factory with a good sharpening choil and a good plunge grind, because it's not even the choil, it's the plunge grind. Now, next thing is, you know, like I said, in the hand, if you're holding it like this, it is not comfortable whatsoever. The clip does get bad in the hand, but like I said, when you hold it in the grips that I think are the way it's supposed to be held, or at least what I find to be the most comfortable, which also winds up being the ergo, or the grip that works the best, you know, it's fine. It is unique, right? Just, you know, the look, the build, you know, just, it is kind of unique, but I like it. And the next bad thing is and this is purely me, so that's why I don't think that I should even put this in the bad, but I'm not a big fan of shiny liners in clips. To me, it cheapens the knife. It makes the knife look cheap, and I think it is. I think it's a cheap way to do the knife. You know, it's just basic stainless, you know, liners. They are milled, so that's cool. They did bring down the weight a little bit, which this thing is very lightweight. But leaving it just bare stainless like this, you know, I would rather see it stone washed or etched or something to where it's not that cheap shiny look. You know, I think of it like on like Cabela's knives and Walmart knives and MKM knives and things like that. But in this price range, it's hard to complain about that, because you're getting a good quality tool with good quality steel, good, you know, decent micarta. So now, but all in all, you know, really there's not a lot of bad here. I mean, it's a pretty good knife. Now, I could complain and say that the clip's not reversible and it has the dome screws. I'd rather see flat screws, but it's really not that big of a deal. Now, let's look at this micarta versus their denim micarta and their black micarta. So here's some of their black micarta. And this one also has the carbon fiber on it, which is very, very well done. Great, great knife. And then here is their blue denim micarta, which I really like. Now, it was originally like how it looks under the clip. Let's see if we can get it. Very light like that. But now, after I've held it a lot, it is turning more into like dark wash jeans, which I like. The texture is really nice. The quality is really good. And this is only $25 for D2 and this build quality. They also have an S35VN version for around $50 something, and I will try to link all of these below in the description. But if you look at the quality of micarta, I personally like the denim a little bit more, but this is still decent green micarta. It's not bad. And then their black micarta is also pretty decent. For the price, I think you're getting good quality micarta, because I could pull up, you know, here's some cheap micarta. Let's pull up some cheap micarta really quick, and you can see the difference. Now, to me, this is more cheap micarta versus this. However, this I don't think is high-end micarta by no means, but it's still, for the money, it's pretty good quality. And their denim micarta is probably the best micarta best denim micarta I've seen. I do have another example of denim micarta that's hard and very solid, and I still like it. It's just, it's not the textured, you know, this actually feels like cloth. But here's a couple size comparisons really quick. You can see the Qsp Penguin and the Leopard. I like how they use the names. They're you know, animal names. That's pretty awesome. But you can see they're basically the same size. And then the Qsp Puffin is a little bit bigger than all of them. You can see it's quite a bit bigger. Good ergos on this thing. And action. Okay, now that was just a quick size comparison. I don't think you guys need a full size comparison, but just know these things are very, very budget friendly, great quality. This example is so easy to reverse flick, and there's a lot of great things about these knives that Qsp is doing. They also have higher end knives as well. So I have yet to have held one of their higher end knives, but you know, I have no doubt that they aren't very good quality, and I would love to try some of their higher end knives, because after seeing the build quality of their budget knives, it makes me think that I would probably really like one of their high end knives. But there you guys go. I love you guys, and I thank you guys for watching. Peace.